in our marriage, we had more than one marriage counselor that we consulted with. And one thing was clear, that if you two, Mercy and so and so, if you had come in for premarital counseling, we would never have allowed you to get married. Not really allowed, but advised.
Yeah.
We were wrong for each other. We had so much going on in our past, and it was making us really messed up people. So we were two very messed up people coming together. That does not create something beautiful. It doesn't create a stable relationship.
No, it's just chaos and violence.
Yes. And codependency.
Yeah, a lot of codependency.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I was looking at this man and seeing, I was very excited about marriage.
Yeah.
What was exciting me was the idea that, hey, I'd have my own unit. For me, marriage is about partnership.
Yeah.
And we could have this empire, we'd grow. I've always been business oriented. Hey, I got to around 5 months, I found out about a certain woman. Now, one tendency I've had for a very long time, and I'm still trying to get out of it, is being passive aggressive. So I'd shut down. That combined with coming from a family where you do not speak out.
Yeah.
First, as who?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a child.
Yeah.
So I kept quiet. I asked about it. This person has left certain clothing items in the back seat. And I'm pregnant. I'm 5 months pregnant. I have what has already been termed as a high-risk pregnancy. But when I first got sick, he was not there. I'm holding a child who is, I think, he was 10 days old, and driving myself to hospital in pain. And I was hospitalized for a week, so I was to have a surgery done urgently, but they couldn't do it there. So I took the next flight to Nairobi. And you know what spouses do? You know those beautiful couples where, oh, my wife is unwell.
Yeah,
they hold each other's hands. I don't know if I'm watching too many movies, but I think that's how it's supposed to be.
It is supposed to be.
This is your
like
life partner.
Yes.
This is your child's mother.
Yes.
He did not show up. Actually, by the time I got to Nairobi, even my own parents who came from Njeri, my whole family was there.
And where was he?
My husband was not there. So I wondered, why is the phone ringing funny? Then I tried calling again, he cut. He cut again. Then he texted, he said, oh, I'm in country X, and I don't know when I'll come back. That was, I think, the first time I sat down and told myself, Nge'ndo, you've been left. So now I had to start thinking on my feet.
Yeah.
He doesn't know when he'll come back. He left me in the house and left the country. This is serious.
Yeah, this is it.
Turns out he had left some. There was a very messy financial situation.
Did you know about it?
No. We're talking about red flags. Secrecy was the biggest one. This person was very secretive.
Yeah.
So I learned about so many Shylock loans, and it was messy. And now I've been left there. So I'm the one being confronted by people. I'm not being called. He even changed his number. And he was away, I think he was away for a month or so. I don't remember how long. I know there's a time he went for a month, then 3 months, then 5 months or something. Just it continued. It went from that 10 days paternity leave. That is when now the disappearing acts began.
You for...
Yes, I was being prepared. I did not see. I had to now start working on things. I cannot afford to be kicked out. I have a very young child. By now, he was around 2 years, because this was 2016. And this man now reappeared. You'd think he had gone to the shops and has come back very casually. And then, of course, that there's that part of me that says, oh, he's back.
Yeah. At least amerudi.
Yes. But now I started developing a very intense anxiety because I don't know if I wake up tomorrow whether he'll be there. I don't know when our lives are going to change forever. I don't know why this person is disappearing and coming back. It doesn't matter anymore that he always comes back. The thing is, I don't know whether he'll come back.
Yeah, that's true. And it worries you.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are my son and I going to live like this? I told you I have sampled good side of life. We worked very hard. We were doing very well. Now, because of some decisions that were made, we got into a very big financial mess. I have seen that side of life and I've seen the other one. We lost everything. Yes. We moved back to Nairobi. This is something even my own friends will be surprised to hear. And moved to a bed sitter. Is it called a bed sitter or a single room? I think it's a bed sitter. Yes. That day my world crashed. I won't get too much into details, but this is where now I started realizing the kind of people whose voices we allow to be in our lives, or even near our ears, can make a very big difference. It can make or break you. When we came back here, we live in a single room. I'd get panic attacks all the time. It was very strange. We are 3 people. Yes. You know those rooms where the bed is here, you take a nice step and you're in the living room, 2 steps you're in the bathroom, 2 steps you're in the kitchen, and that is your house. Hata nguo, the clothes that we were able to move with, I think I only came with the clothes on me. When people talk about starting life from scratch, I have experienced it. It is a very humiliating, dehumanizing experience where you lose your sense of dignity and you don't even know where to start. But remember, I am supposed to be a partner.
Through thick and thin.
Yes, he's been knocked down. Oh yes, the vows. I don't remember how they go, but I think I remember some parts.
For better, for worse.
This was for worst.
Okay.
So, I said, I had started a baking business before. You remember that time when he's left for that country? I had been baking and people kept saying, teachers. And I just put up a post on Facebook. Hey, those who've been wanting to learn, sign up. So I broke down the cost and everything. I said, okay, I'll charge this. I was overbooked within hours. So that's what kept us going for a while. So I'd do it in my kitchen. I had a very big kitchen. And, you know, I'd schedule. So he's coming at 7 in the morning. So I sort the baby out. He has his porridge. And he's well sorted.
Still, you didn't have a nanny to help you out?
No. For what? I've given birth. I'm supposed to be very womanly. And remember, this is someone with a background where they now believe a woman gives birth, she's no longer sick, or pregnancy is not sickness, childbirth is not sickness. She goes to the shamba in a few days. So I have no excuse. But I do not regret raising my child alone. That is one thing I can never trade for anything. That experience, because it has made me so much stronger and more resilient than I'd ever have been. So this baking business, I said, hey, we come to Nairobi and our stuff was taken. Fridge, whatever they could get, TV, seats, everything. So we say, okay, we're coming to Nairobi. I knew we were coming to Nairobi to start life afresh. We get a small house, a 1-bedroom house.
At least.
Yes. And I said, I will work my ass off. When I was baking in Kisumu, I specialized mostly in custom-made cakes. Like even the recipes, I had worked on them for years. So I'd do something totally different. And most of my clients were in Nairobi. So G4S offices at Megacity, Kisumu, they knew me. I'd come with a big box and you know there's a way we build. No, and the cake is frozen, it gets to Nairobi intact. So since I knew I have a client who is here, I said, hey, I was I was painfully optimistic because I
Oh.
said, this is not going to be the end. And we have a child. You know, when you just two of you say, watch out, see how things go. You go stay with your mom, you do what, you know. But we have a child.
This one has to work.
It has to work. So I was talking to myself. We ended up in that bed sitter. We stayed there for close to 3 years. You know those rooms where the roof leaks? If the wind blows hard, there's some 2 cement particles that will come in. Life was hard.
3 years.
And because I had learned to internalize everything, I couldn't talk. I couldn't tell my family. Nobody knew.
How did you manage to keep this from them?
I've always been a very... the word is not secretive. I keep stuff to myself. I'm a very private person. I was. Okay, now here, look at me. So I can't call myself private right
Not
now.
anymore.
Yes, but I used to keep things to myself because one, I have to hide this shame. I have to defend, to protect my husband.
And his honor.
Yes, because hey, he's a man. He's lost everything. People should not know about it because that's a kind of failure. People should not know about it. So I kept quiet about it.
But you were paying for his mistakes.
Yes. He got people into our family business who really, really messed us up and kicked me out. Things were bad. Selling our vehicles, personal vehicles. And you know, you're left in a house looking at things and you have bills, you have rent that has accrued and you really don't know what to do. And then he disappeared and then I'm left there with phone calls with the landlord.
Sort out the mess.
Yes. And there's a good woman too, Jacquline.
In a sort.
Hey. Right now, if someone did the same thing to me, please. No. Those are lessons I've learned. I will still be a good wife. But there are things that really no one should be subjected to.
That is true.
You take responsibility as the head of that family. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have times when you're knocked down. But when you are, sit down with your life partner and chart the way forward.
Yeah.
Because the responsibility is not always on the man.
Yeah.
I am willing to help, but why dump everything on you on this?
And also keep me in touch. Like, let me know what is happening. Let me know the decisions you're making so that when shit happens,
I'm informed. Why am I finding people at my doorstep demanding to see you? And I didn't know anything about it.
So unfair.
And most people won't believe, you're the wife and you didn't know.
Aki.
So you're part of this lie. You're scheming us. And I'm clueless.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you what got me through that was prayer, because I couldn't even call my own mother to tell her. I was so scared. But now life has changed. We've come here. Now, there's something we don't talk about a lot. Economic abuse. When women say, oh, my husband doesn't want me to work, please, red flag. Yes. I should have seen that from the start. This person wants to know exactly where you are, at what time, and what you're wearing, and who you're with, and what you're up to. At some point, I couldn't even keep my own ID. Yes. Nilikuwa naekewa ID. Aki, this will make me sound...
ID.
Yes, this will make me sound very stupid, but yes, I was to some extent very stupid. He will keep my ID because I lose it.
Kwani wewe ni mtoto?
You know, the things that I look back at and wonder. But anyway, I've learned. See, now I know what
But at that time,
is.
you thought it was love.
I thought it was love and protection.
It was a protection.
Why would I lose my ID? So if you want to go and withdraw M-Pesa, which is literally the only time you need an ID, he would want to know where the money is coming from. Yes. Control. I didn't know that's what it was. You know, we'll twist things up and make them look like this is love, this is care, this is protection, it's all those things. It is someone controlling you. But he said it in a very beautiful way. I've always desired a wife who is not employed so that she can do business.
Homemaker. Anyway.
I was the ideal candidate. Because remember when we were getting married, what was I doing? I was doing business. Yes. So he did not want me to be employed because I can do business and build our empire. I have no problem with building that empire. But I didn't know. So when we are now in this pet sitter, Ivi, I got a job. Chini ya maji, he didn't even know at first. I thank God for a very precious cousin of mine who called me and gave me a job. I don't know if she knew what was going on. That was the first time I'd been employed within my marriage. Oh my God. So now that was at least going to, and with that, you know what happened? I had very, not low self-esteem. It was non-existent. Below low. So now I start working. I start showing up somewhere every day. Yeah. It's affirming my worth. I'm saying, my goodness, you mean I'm not all those things he's been making me believe I am? I'm actually capable of being productive. And I was happy to do it. It was new, but I was open to learning so many things. Guess why I resigned?
He found out.
No, he found out along the way and he was never happy about it. Guess why I resigned? It was a conversation. I want you to resign from your job and do business. Whatever they're paying you, I'll be paying you every month. Onadurudu. Sikoyona. That is how I drafted my resignation letter.
You didn't even ask, like...
I didn't mind doing business. If he's assured me, he'll give me that money as capital, I have no problem. Because for me, my main goal was to get us out of that sitter. That is all I wanted. So I resigned. A couple of weeks later, I went down a whole flight of stairs and shattered my bones. This is now where I'm telling you, ended up in hospital. And he's too busy to come to the hospital.
To sign the form.
Yes. So he's being called from morning. Oh yeah, we'd like you to come. I told them, don't call the person who's listed as next of kin because it's my mother. And my mother will walk from Njeri. Okay. So please don't freak her out. This is my spouse's number. Because when I registered, when my file was created in that hospital, it was way before I got married. Okay. Hiya. Things have changed. I cannot stand. I cannot walk on my own. Can hardly use a loo without assistance. And I've just resigned. A short while later, this is 2018. Before that, I'd known there was a woman. There was a certain woman in the picture. A short while later, I got her confirmation. I had her name. I had her photos. I had all the information necessary, and except fingerprints and all that stuff.
That you had done your due diligence.
Yes. To date, I have never confronted her. And I say to date because they're still together. From 2018. Yes. She is the reason why I told him, you want to be with someone else? Go. And gotten to that point where I am at my most vulnerable. Do you know what it is like to not be able to take steps on your own? That you can't use the washroom on your own? That you need a seat to bathe? You're helpless. I've come from, it's not just broken bones, it's also now another surgery. I stayed in hospital for 2 weeks. Sometime I'll tell you how people were actually wondering, are you sure you have a husband? Someone who doesn't care. But he did that thing. He bought me what I needed. I needed the walker. I needed the boots, the compression boots to when I started now walking again. He did those things, so he's still a good husband. At least, yes. Let me not keep dwelling on, the things that I saw.
Angalia mazuri.
Yes. Why would you be focusing on that things? That's being a very roho chafu kind of way.
Hauko appreciative wewe.
But my health was deteriorating. And actually, a few weeks before that accident, I'd been in hospital. And I was having problems with my heart. And I was very depressed.
Oh my gosh.
And Jackie, if you had seen me then, I would still be smiling the way I smile. I had locked things inside me, and that was me.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, hi, you know. No one would ever think that for 3 years straight, I cried myself to sleep every night.
3 years.
3 years. I had suicidal ideation. Suicidal. I was suicidal more times than I can count. I felt trapped. You know, when you feel trapped, people blame people who die by suicide or attempt to take their lives. But these are people who feel that there is no other option.
Yeah.
You're not in your right mind. In your right mind, you wouldn't say, I want my life to end. But there's so much going on in your mind that it feels like this enclosed place that you've been trapped in.
Yeah.
That is how it felt for me. So I had no way out. And it felt that the only way I can do this is by ending my life. You think he cared? First, I had been told, what was that word? He said he bans me, not bans me, isn't that what he used, from going for counseling. So it's towards the end of my marriage. Remember how we met? That's when now I started kisiri, going for counseling. Because I knew there is no way I am going to live like this for the next, I don't know how many years. So going on forward, my marriage in 2020, that is when now things came to an end. There's so much that went on before that. But I had now started seeing this was bad. I had my contribution to the marriage coming to an end. That is one thing I'm always clear about. That it's not about one person messing things up. It's two people. So yes, I was married to a very manipulative, abusive person with very clear narcissistic tendencies, which I still see to date. But I have learned, please.
No, he doesn't have a hold on you anymore.
No. He tries, but sometimes I just look at the phone and put it down. So in 2020, we had the lockdown. That is what now changed everything, because the lockdown, it was announced just as we had arrived in Njeri. And I'd said with my siblings and our kids, hey, let's go see our parents because this COVID thing is spreading, so let's go. So we went to Njeri. When we were at the market, lockdown was announced. This man got angry. I don't know whether he thought I knew. He got so angry.
Like all of us were ambushed by that.
Yes. Because now I had left home with a backpack because I was going for maximum 3 days. Then now you're being told 21 days. I'm thinking, okay. But good thing is I was with my child. So we just say, oh, let's chill. Let's see how this thing goes. And everyone is anxious about it. But it was a turning point for us because when we were in Njeri, I said, I have 21 days to think. That is when now my life started changing. From the conversation we'd had with you a few weeks before.
Actually 2 weeks prior to the lockdown.
Exactly. So remember, that's when now we were sharing sanitizers. We were like, okay, this thing is a rare commodity. And as I now started thinking about things, I started doing therapy. Now this man sent very nasty messages to my parents separately. Because, okay, I was going to be sarcastic. Now, seriously, you did not get me via SMS, but you want to hand me back to my parents via SMS. That is how much disrespect he had for my parents. So he sent them messages. So my mom asked me, you know, the cukes are like, so she asked me, were you given permission to come? It's like, yes. Well, not really, but I informed him 2 weeks before that, hey,
2 weeks prior?
Yes, that we're going. We're considering going to Njeri. The day we left, I told him, hey, we are leaving. However, he was giving me silent treatment that had lasted for around 3 months. So we had, not 3 months, sorry, a couple of weeks since February. Now we're in around March, end of March. So he had not spoken to me. But he knew we have left. Even my child said goodbye to his father and we left. So now my parents are wondering what's up.
Like,
why would he send a message that you know, I'm no longer responsible for that daughter of yours? I said, okay. So when I started doing therapy, that time we're doing virtual therapy.
Yes.
This is what I wanted to mention. The stages of grief. That is when I was told, Mercy, you'll go through grief. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a simple thing. This is like a decade of knowing someone, including now the time we dated. And I'm having to process it. I mentioned what I went through those stages. Remember, this man has now stopped talking to us, including the child. He's not talking to the child. I bought my son a phone and gave him a line, and I sent it to his father and said, in case you want to get in touch with your child, here's the number. So that if he has issues with me, he does not project them on the child. Unfortunately, when there is very low emotional intelligence,
the children also pay for something they don't know about.
I said, fine, let me do this therapy. The denial stage was the longest, where I was saying, but he does this.
Even with all that happened, Mercy, you still wanted to rationalize.
Yes. That denial stage lasted a very long time. And also remember, I have always known that marriage is forever. And that I will never be that person who ends a marriage. The denial stage for me was also, what will people say? My mom is a church elder. What shame am I going to bring on my family? I can't deal with it. The kind of stigma that we see that divorced women face. I'm not even going to talk about divorced men because those men are having it easy.
I know.
Divorced women, especially when they have children. So that denial stage kept me bound for so long. And I remember being told during one of the sessions, you now have to start thinking about yourself. Because even a doctor had told me when I was having those health problems that now this is all about what's happening in your life. Mercy, this marriage is going to kill you. The bluntest words I have ever had. And I knew it's true. I was going to die in that marriage. So yes, for those who are wondering, you've probably not had this before, but getting out of my marriage saved my life. I wouldn't be here today. That is one thing that I know, and I can list down the reasons why I believe so. So I went to the anger stage. Guy, it was the worst. I never realized I had a whole decade of anger in me. And I learned how anger now makes you get this anxiety and panic attacks, which I was getting. Panic attack makes you feel like your life is ending. Because you can't control anything. It feels like the world is turning upside down and all your organs are just moving at the same time. The the anger stage was terrifying. Because it meant confronting all these years of abuse.
And acknowledging that you allowed this to happen to you.
Exactly. Being angry at myself. Because in the denial stage, I was just saying, no, maybe I'm the one who did this wrong. And also that shame of, I need to mention this, the shame of having to admit to yourself and to society that you chose a wrong partner. That you're no longer in a union that is blessed, that is supposed to be this consecrated union. That you're no longer
able to hold it together.
Yes, you have failed. Yes, people say you failed. You failed in the biggest pursuit of a woman's life. It's a major thing.
No, it is.
And that was really eating me up. So in the anger now, I started now letting it out. It was hard. That is when I started journaling. My first journal was when I was in the anger stage. I used to complete a 120-page book in a week.
120?
Yes. Because I would write to the point of my fingers becoming numb. But it helped me so much because after so many years of learning that I shouldn't speak. Because one, it is not safe. It is not acceptable. And because I don't know who to speak to. Or even what to say. I'm second guessing myself. Or maybe I'm being ungrateful. I was called ungrateful. Because this man has given you a good life.
Others have had it worse.
Exactly. I was told that. And someone told me, hey, people have worse marriages. yeah, my marriage was bad for the first 10 years, then I got used to it. And I told that lady, I don't want to get used to it.
Exactly.
Because it's eating me up.
Yes.
My quality of life was so low. So we went through the anger stage, successfully came out, proceeded
How long
forward.
did that take?
It took several months. The entire lockdown, I think we spent about 3 or 4 months. That is when, now, as it was coming to an end, was the same time I walked into a hospital and said, I'm not okay. I didn't know how to put that to words, what I was feeling. I couldn't sleep. I was getting this anxiety to the point of shaking. And it just felt, it was terrifying. And I knew this is not about COVID. Because where we were staying at my parents' home, it was pretty secluded. So we weren't really interacting with people. So what's happening? I walked into a hospital and I was asked, oh, so how are you doing today? They take the vitals and said, I'm not okay. My vitals were fine. Well, I had an extremely high heart rate. But I said, I'm not okay. And that's when now it was discovered I was having very bad anxiety. And that is now when my journey in mental health matters officially started. That is where I accepted I can walk to a hospital and say, hey, I think I'm depressed. Hey, I'm having a lot of anxiety. I'm having insomnia. I'd had insomnia for 3 years. I couldn't fall asleep. I'd stay in bed, but I'll just be quiet, but I can't sleep. I'd cried myself to sleep for 3 straight years. Just the other day, my child said, after our separation, said, Mom, you know nowadays you don't get sick and you don't cry the way you used to. Thinking that I'd been hiding all this from my child, he was seeing that I was always hospitalized. I was always crying. I was this sad person. A few weeks after our separation, I was sitting with my son and I just laughed. It felt strange. Like, whoa, this is a different experience. But also my son said, Mom, you've laughed. It was like it was this really strange thing for him to witness. And I said, oh my gosh, I've laughed. But now I started crying because I realized the mom he knows is sad and depressed.
And angry and withdrawn. And
that's the mom he knew. So he got his mom back after separation. Went through the younger stage. And this man decides, see, now we remember the cycle of abuse. So now we are back to hovering after he's not spoken to us for weeks, months actually. We get to hovering. He says he's coming to get his wife. For those who are Kikuyus will understand. He's coming to get his wife. So he makes this a ceremony. Comes home and
tuko karibu kumaliza.
Then now I'll just go to parenting.
Action.
So he came with his family members to meet now my parents.
To the whole sherehe.
I tell you, walipikiwa.
Let me ask you, wanapikiwa? Nani amewanyamazia ama your mom did?
He created the impression that I'm the one who ran away from home. I didn't.
But your mom didn't ask?
I don't know what she was getting from him, because unfortunately that time I also wasn't really talking to my mom about, you know, what's been going on. I had told her tidbits that had really shocked her, because she's thinking, why haven't you ever spoken about this? But I was a very private person also. I was covering my husband. Yes. So when he came and he talked, he rehearsed a speech that I had heard so many times. I could almost say it along with him. And by that time, remember, I've been doing therapy. When it was my turn to speak, I said, okay, I've heard you, but I'm no longer willing to be your wife.
Point blank.
Have you heard just how calm I am? That is how calm I was.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I'd gotten to that point where I knew this is beyond repair. This is 2018. 2018, I find out about this girl. She's still in existence, and this is 2020. And every time I'd raise that issue and say, okay, who is so and so? I'm concerned about so and so. He got to a point now he started gaslighting me. And he called me crazy, told me I'm a mad woman, I'm possessed by demons. He even recommended a certain pastor to pray for me. Yeah, because I'm imagining he's having an affair. And guess what? That woman is now his wife. Yes. I was not crazy. I don't know what to hope for, but because there's a child involved, I pray for that child. So now, got through that, we came back to Nairobi. In my mind, I know I'm doing counseling, so I'm being prepared for that transition. I got to the bargaining stage, and this is where I learned about my childhood, my attachment styles, how much all this had affected my perception of what relationships should be. I'm looking at myself and thinking, no, I've done the wrong thing, so I should go back. But then again, I ask myself, do I really want to go back to this and that? Apana. So the bargaining stage and the depression stage were coming, interchangingly. And then I got to the depression stage. Now, this is when now I finally started opening up. I had a support system. There are two girls that I really thank God for, Lydia and Anne. God bless them. Because at a time when everyone was telling me, Nge'ndo, you don't want to be a single mom. Nge'ndo, divorce has too much stigma attached to it. Nge'ndo, you can't raise your child on your own. Nge'ndo, this boy needs his dad. Those two prayed with me. They prayed for me. They picked up my calls when I was having panic attacks in the middle of the night. Anne is my childhood friend. And she'd tell me, Nge'ndo, you're enough. I'm thinking, what does that even mean? Enough for what? I wasn't enough for this man. So how do you tell me I'm enough?
It doesn't make sense.
And she kept saying it until it started dawning on me, my goodness. You can be the right package at the wrong doorstep. I say that I also had my part that I played because I became a very angry, bitter woman. You know, when you are so used to being suppressed, it gets to a point where you're not yourself. And I remember telling the therapist, I don't like who I am with him. I didn't like who I was. I had lost my sense of purpose, my identity. I didn't love anything or have any ambition. So now you see, now after the separation, when I had to discover who is Nge'ndo, I had completely lost myself. I had become a puppet because now this person is controlling everything I do. And now I had to now figure out who am I, what do I like? Oh my gosh, I never liked eating this. It's because I had to keep cooking it. I never liked doing these activities. What I really want is to sing. I love singing and had stopped for so many years. So getting myself back, that was also a challenge. And then now the depression stage also taught me about support systems. This is for women who have gone through divorce. You are an average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. I ended up sitting amongst women who have gone through divorce. That was the last time I ever sat down there. Because I sat down with them and they're saying, Pana, you go revenge. Sleep around, use men. And I realized it's not who I want to be. So I decided, let me step aside and now focus on healing through therapy. Because there was so much for me to deal with. And also focus on my child. I was told, peleka mtoto kwa shosho yake. Take the child to his grandparents so that you can have your freedom and your time. No? I said, I don't want that freedom and time. The reason why this child is going through this is because of our decisions. Parenting after the big D. The children need you. Children will go through all the stages of grief that you're talking about. And you have no timeline. They will struggle. And remember, you owe your children an explanation. It is not in detail, but you have broken up your marriage. But guess what else you have done? You've broken their identity, their sense of belonging, their family. My child was, I think, 6 years old when we separated. And his father did not explain. But I sat him down. He has known everything. He knows what a court proceeding is. I explained to him, of course, in child
age-appropriate language.
Yes. I explained and told him the reason we're not together is because we were not able to agree. But the one thing we agree on is that we love you. Because that child needs to feel safe. He has struggled with anxiety. He has struggled with, feeling safe. He'd feel like, gosh, will mom disappear?
The same way, the other figure was very inconsistent.
And that inconsistency is actually what's the worst part, because he doesn't know what to expect today. Remember, we're still having this cycle of abuse. It does not change when it comes to the child. An abuser is an abuser.
That's true.
So if I'm going through the same love bombing all the way to hoovering, the child is going through the same.
That is true.
So there are times when you say, Daddy did this and that, and in my heart I say, God help me, because whatever is coming, you see, now I am more aware. I can identify the signs. Whatever is coming, let me be able to support this child. There are times when I've been a very angry parent. I can look at my child and think, my goodness, you look like your father.
Oh my gosh.
And I really don't want him to feel that bad feeling. So I had to consciously keep telling myself, he is not his father. It is not him you have issues with. This is an innocent child.
Wow.
So nowadays, when I look at him and he makes an expression looks like his father, I laugh. I say, you look like your dad. There's a time when he did not want anything to link him to his father. He didn't want to use his name, and didn't want anyone mentioning it. He was going through his own motions.
The same way he processed you as.
Yes, and he's doing it differently. So what I'd advise parents, get therapy for your children. If you're separating, if you're going through divorce, let the children also sit with a child psychologist. It is an investment that is life-changing and can save those children from so much, because they will learn coping mechanisms other than if they have to do it on their own and then end up going to deal with drugs and alcohol because they have so much inside them that they don't know how to process. I was told, Nge'ndo, you're now a single girl, drink. I have a very bad relationship with alcohol. I really do not find the need for it. I said, instead of drinking, say, just invest that money in therapy.
Oh wow.
Because that glass of wine, that bottle of wine will be so much better if I invest in therapy and where I will learn to process all these things. Let me tell you, it is so easy to be a very bitter divorced woman and never come out of it. So you're going out punishing every single male you can find.
Society really encourages that.
Yes.
Just go free. You've got your freedom, I don't know.
Yes, what freedom? I have a responsibility as a parent. That is one thing that will never change. And I was told, Nge'ndo, you're giving too much to your child. You're not living your life. And I said, my life, first of all, is me as Nge'ndo, as a woman, and I'm working on it. But also as a mother, that is a role that will never change. That is a title that I'll never lose. I will always be his mother. So why should I neglect him because I have my own stuff I'm dealing with? And that's why I brought him to you, because I felt I'm going through therapy and this boy is also processing things. I may only be able to do so much. So let him come and see a professional who will be able to help him process these things. I think by the time he came in to see you, he was struggling a lot with anxiety.
And the inconsistency with his dad, because he kept mentioning his dad.
His dad. You see, it was very important for him to get the help. So children also need a support system. We can't say, ni watoto, what do they know? These children have seen tension between you.
They feel it with you.
Yes. So someone asked me, why would you get out of your marriage and leave a child without a father? And I said, my child is witnessing things that are going to be his template. This is what will form his perception of what relationships are. So he's seeing a father who doesn't talk to his mother, and he will conclude very innocently that you have to be passive aggressive with your spouse. He'll see a father who's looking at his wife in a certain way and say, this is what men should be like.
That's what he'll internalize.
Men can disappear anytime they want, no explanation needed. That is not what masculinity is. Masculinity can be empathetic. Masculinity can be kind. It can, when you're comfortable in your masculinity, you don't have to stamp that authority all the time.
You don't have to crave control.
You don't have to do it. So what is this child learning by observing? So yes, I know, I feel some type of way about knowing that I may have denied my son a chance to have that complete family according to what society views it. But on the flip side, I have given him an opportunity to live in a home where there is laughter. There was never laughter in our home. Now we laugh, we dance, we sing, we cuddle on the couch and talk. You know, he's now a preteen and he tells me, Mom, what is this and that? He tells me when he has a crush. You know, we have conversations, and our home has become a home of two people, but two people who share joy and love. That I never want him to imagine that because his father is missing in the picture, that means that there is no life for him. Children need security, they need love, they need safety.
Validation,
if I'm able to offer that, even when it's just the two of us, then I have done my work.
I think it's even better than having a father, mother and children, and we are missing that aspect of unity and love and laughter and validation, you know?
We have normalized dysfunctional families because we are afraid of what people will say. We are afraid of doing the roles on our own, but we need a support system. I thank God that I have people in my life who say, hey, how about, you know, we do this, we get together and talk about this. I have surrounded myself with people who pray, people who uphold dignity even in their own lives. You know, who'd never tell me, Ai, Nge'ndo, see, you go get yourself a mubaba. You know, that's the in thing, And I've also been approached by those men who are like, you know, you need a man. I like that. You're a single woman. You need some extra cash. I say, let me live within my means.
At what cost?
At what cost, exactly?
At what cost?
It will cost me so much more. And my son is going to be seeing me with A, then E, then...
What kind of picture are you painting? What kind of message are you giving this boy?
So let me be called names for sacrificing this particular time because I need to support him, because that is what intentional parenting is about.
I wouldn't even call it sacrificing. I see it as a woman who knows her value, and you don't have to shortchange that.
Yes.
To live in accordance to what people want you to live. So you know your value, you know you are enough.
Yes.
You know you don't have to live in a certain way or go to certain means to get a certain lifestyle.
Yes.
Because you can do it.
Step by step.
Yes.
I've seen both ends. Yes. So now I may be somewhere in the middle, but I know I'm not going back to down. I'm not going back to that bed sitter, but I'm also not going to compromise to give my son and I this fake impression of, you know, this wonderful life, because the most important things that I need to be focusing on right now is the values that I'm instilling in him. I want him to feel loved. I want him to know I keep telling him, when we do our affirmations, I tell him, you're an important member of this family. And he says, but Mom, I'm the youngest in the extended family. I tell him, that's a good thing. Yes? And if you're going to make changes, you're going to make great changes. Whatever you want to be, I'll support you. We have good discussions, we have healthy discussions, because I want him to know that coming from what society is calling a broken home does not mean that that's the end of his life.
It doesn't even mean he's broken.
Yes, he's not broken. He went through a phase and it's shaping him. But I also want to support him so that he does not end up like those who've been there before us, who didn't know any other way of conducting their lives. And at the end of the day, I look at him and say, I'm glad that I stayed. I'm glad I stayed put. You know, now he knows there's a time when he'd freak out and think, Mom, are you going to leave, you know? There's a time he was hospitalized, and it's a story for another day. But that is when the doctor told me, I think your son needs help. He was always afraid that Mom will leave. So I have to keep telling him, if you're the parent who has stayed, keep telling your kids, I'm here for you. I'm not going. Yes? The other parent doesn't have to be bad. I don't paint his father in a bad picture, by the way, because I am going to now be devaluing half of who he is. He's still his father's son, whether his father was a good or a bad person. And I know I also have my really bad part of me.
Like everybody else.
Yes, and I tell him, Mommy makes mistakes, Daddy makes mistakes, everyone makes mistakes, whether you're grown up or a child. But the important thing is to acknowledge them and try and change and become better. It has been a very interesting journey, but it is worth it. Please, parents, don't give up on your children. Don't give up on second chances, whether the second chances come as another spouse, another relationship, or second chances come as life. Jackie, I have not been hospitalized since the day we parted ways. I have been in great health.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So when someone points out, you know, I used to have body aches that I couldn't explain. You know?
It was all the pain and the anguish you were internalizing was just manifesting in your body now.
I've gone shedding it and talking and going for therapy and learning who I am. Not through someone else's lens, but also one who defines me, God. So my husband told me, you're not even worth it. But what does God say about me? Someone would sacrifice his life for me. My goodness, that gives me so much value.
Yeah, you're valuable.
And that is why it becomes even very easy when you get some very funny men, you know, coming up and, you know, telling you, trying to vibe you. Hey, it's called vibing. I'm learning these terms afresh. And you say, no thanks. You know, some will wonder what's wrong with this one.
Kwani unakata?
Yeah.
Kwani wewe uko na nini?
Yeah, the problem has to be me.
Like,
but it's because I'm seeing, no, I can wait. I have no problem with waiting because I am working every day to make myself a better person, to heal from my past and to say, hey, you know what? I was in a marriage and it ended. Fine, I called it off. I don't like saying that out loud.
That
because
you just did?
Yeah. People think, you know, it's the man who says,
of course.
I called off the marriage and I have no apologies for that. Of course, I feel, you know, things could have gone better if I had made better decisions at the beginning. One, girls who are, before you get married, I won't call them girls. Before you get married, take time to go for sessions with people like you. You go and unpack your childhood. People think that, oh, you know, my childhood is in the past, it doesn't matter. My goodness. The minute you become a parent or you get into a relationship, that is when things start coming out.
True.
People need to do intense therapy.
And self-awareness classes just to understand.
When you start seeing things in yourself that, you know, that are impacting other people negatively, then you're able to make those changes.
That is true.
Those are things that I didn't know and I would do differently. Unfortunately, I'm no longer 24. I'm 35. So these 11 years have taught me the importance of being able to heal from your past. The importance of having a very good support system. Support system is not girls who tell you, at you, he did what? Aki, ebu we go and kunywa, ebu we go to bestie. That is not productive. Those are people who will just make you deteriorate. But when you have someone who tells you, sit down, let's talk. To date, I don't tell people, ebu toka kwa hiyo ndoa. You know, people expect because I left that, hey, please, Uyo, she's going to tell me to get out. No. Hey, have you considered going for counseling? Have you talked? Have you prayed? Because sometimes you need to pray before you even have a conversation because the Lord needs to be present when you're angry. You see? And at the end of the day, when you feel that this has, umefika mwisho kabisa and this needs to come to an end, your marriage needs to come to an end, make that decision not on a whim, but you're making an informed decision because it's changing your life forever.
That is true.
Yeah?
Wow. Quite a story there, Mercy. For a person who's private.
No, you've been preparing me for months.
I know.
We talked about this last year.
Last year, yes.
Yes.
But I'm glad that you were able to invite us into your world and vividly describe, you know, how it was from the beginning, the dating stage, and the fact that you're not even talking about this from a victim mentality. The fact that you're taking ownership, that you should have done things differently, that you ought to have make informed decisions, but you didn't. But here you are today. And somewhere along the lines, I heard you say that mind kupata relationship tena.
I don't mind. Yes.
Marriage.
I have not written off marriage, by the way,
Oh,
just because I was
beautiful.
in one that wasn't very healthy. Okay, it wasn't healthy at all.
It wasn't healthy at all.
I haven't written off marriage.
Oh.
I am still pro-family.
Yeah.
I believe that there are good men. Men are not trash.
No, they're not.
Yes, there are men who have gone through a lot. When I look at my ex-husband, I even acknowledged him in his presence, and I say that I know you've gone through a lot that has shaped who you are. You have your past traumas, you have your experiences that have made you who you are, but that does not mean that all men are bad.
Wow.
We are just products of our experiences.
This is true.
If a man chooses to heal and he chooses to be better and work on himself, he can be an amazing man. So yes, if I did get into a good relationship, I would be open to marriage. And maybe we'll revisit the 5 babies.
Tutaangalia maneno. Yes, tutaangalia pole pole tu. Yeah, it's very bold of you to actually speak about this, because you've even touched aspects that people are not acknowledging today. Like, if it's not working, you don't have to die there.
Yeah.
It's not a do or die affair. That you can actually rewrite your story.
Yes.
That it doesn't have to be father, mother, and children to make a complete family. Just one parent, one single parent is enough to be there for that child. And you create a balance also for yourself.
Yes.
As you take care of the child, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mercy.
You're welcome. Thanks for hosting me.
Yes. From us here, thank you so much for keeping us company. Until next time, God bless you. Bye-bye.